This is in reference to Billy's talking points memo from Friday, November 14th, 2014. Is President Obama going to harm the country next week? Now, this is what I love about you, Billy. You put the onus 100% on Obama where it doesn't belong. Okay? So, he's the president. It is his prerogative to have an executive authority, executive action. All right? Bush did it before him, Clinton, Bush before, Reagan, Carter, Nixon, Ford. They all did executive authorities. All the time. All right? This happens to be one that you don't particularly like. This happens to be one that many Republicans don't like because they do not like brown-skinned people. They do not want them to get ahead in the United States. They do not want them to be part of the United States. What is going on here is not flaunting his constitutional authority. It is not subverting, the Congress. It is President Obama taking executive action. Now let's just remember, Billy, this week, before your show, the president again went on the air. I'm sure your show, none of the Fox shows even show this, but he went on the air and again said that there is a Senate bill that has been passed that can be brought to the floor of the House and can be voted on this week. It was passed with Republicans. It has lots of compromise in it, but you guys don't want to compromise at all. You see, you don't want to be a part of the solution. You just want to be a part of the problem. So what we have here is President doing what he wants to do. Okay, let's get back to that bill. So that bill was passed over a year ago, and it could be brought to the floor anytime. And I talked about it before. It's not going to be brought to the floor because most of the Republicans won't vote for it. It would pass because if it was brought to the floor, enough Democrats would pass with enough Republicans that it would pass. And then it would become law. And then we wouldn't have this problem. But we have this problem. So you put the onus on Obama. Is he going to harm the country? No, he's not going to harm the country because guess what? Obama said when the Senate bill was passed a year ago, he would give the House time to pass it, to come up with their own bill. They haven't even come up with a bill. And then you go further on, oh man, just the way you do this, Billy, it's great, saying that they'd be under tremendous pressure. They wouldn't be under any pressure whatsoever. They have no intention of passing any type of bill. They don't have any intention of passing anything remotely close to a bill that would help many of our friends from south of the border, so to speak. Now, and then you say that the courts will do it. Well, it's an executive order. It's not a law. He's not, it's an executive order. Again, when you elect a president, they have consequences. Presidents have the action. That's why there's 435 House members and 100 Senate members. Their power does not necessarily, individually doesn't even come remotely close to the president. And even as their body, they could be stronger than the president if they had enough spine to enact enough laws, but they don't. They just want to sue the president. They just want to say he's poisoning the well. They say they want tax reform. Then they're going to blame Obama for not having tax reform, even though they have no intention of really having tax reform, unless they want to do a few things which may be worked out in terms of having a standard rate for corporate tax reform, provided that there's enough loopholes that can be closed so that they will get enough revenue. Again, revenue has to come in, and I don't think the Republicans really want to have revenue. They don't want the government to work efficiently and effectively. They want it to work like shit. Okay, so let's get back to just Billy again. Again, your premise is that President Obama is doing wrong. He's not doing wrong. He's doing what he was elected to do. He has asked Congress to do things. There has been a bill passed, okay, and the House has refused to bring the bill up at all. Doubt that would ever go to the courts, but you do bring up one point. Yes, this court is filled with some real radical right-wing individuals who really are not justices. They're politicians. They're playing that game completely. So that takes care of that all end of it. Now you do bring up one or two other little things in reference to it, and let me just grab one. And that was just on the last thing in terms of the children crossing the borders. You know, the first thing that we need to have is the border secure. And you went back into the fact that the Democrats are saying that the borders are secure. Well, again, I will point out with something this is you have never pointed out, and these are facts, all right? And the fact is that the Obama administration, in the 6.5, 7 years, something like that, you know, had already deported more people from Central and South America than Bush had in the entire time that he was in office. So they have an accelerated deportation program. Are the borders 100%? They will never be 100%. All right. Are they a lot better than when Obama took office? Yes, they are a lot better than when Obama took office. But that's your game, Billy. You're just going to say that the borders are porous, that we know that people are coming by. And then you use the example of the 75,000 children. I don't know if it was that many or not. But guess what? They went to the border and they were all arrested. They gave themselves up. They didn't try and evade anybody. You try to make it look like they climbed over the fence. No, they went across the little Rio Grande River and went up to the border patrols and said, "We're here. Take us in. We're done." Okay? So this is, again, a stupid thing, Billy. You put the onus on the president. You try and let all of your people know the president is a bad person. He's not a bad person. He's wanted to do this for years. The Republicans have not wanted to do this for years. The Republicans have stymied him at every single level. There was a Senate bill passed which the House has never even considered taking up. And President Obama has said for over a year that he would make an executive action if they did not do anything. So he's within 100% of his rights as a president to do these things, and thank God that he's going to get up there and do it. He should have done it earlier, but he's doing it now.